We are on a first name basis with our area manager, Rob Walton, and a few other people. They respond to the best they can. Polls seem to be an issue that was talked about a lot. We got a lot of calls on who owns what pole. I can give you one example. I lost a pole from a tree coming down in my backyard under Sandy. It took 12 days to get the pole up, but the pole wasn't JCP&L's, it was Verizon's. The pole came from California, and unbeknownst to me, I mean, they told me it wasn't there. They had to wait until Verizon put the pole up. So that's kind of an issue that we deal with, and you hear it a lot about the poles. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know who owns what pole. I worked for Belcor, so I know that they let the poles sit out there for a long, long time to see how long they last. But it's an issue that's talked about a lot amongst the mayors. Now I want to thank Mayor Sariano for hosting this. We have come to learn over 9 years, in my 9th year as mayor, that storms are going to come more frequently. And they're much more severe than they were when we were kids growing up. And we have become a society that uses generators instead of having your power out 1 or 2 days. People have generators. You hear them going through the neighborhoods all the time. So we're kind of taking a different approach, and we want to work with the mayors in the county and JCP&L. And the first thing we have to do is we really have to identify the dead trees and the hollow trees in the public sector. Clearly, a huge percentage of the trees that came down in Morristown in the public sector that took out lines and power were hollowed out trees, a lot of them. So we know that's something that we've been working on. We have a good OEM team. We're way ahead of the storm when it comes. Our public is notified. Everybody knows it's coming, and everybody prepares to have no power. Now, the scary part of that is that it's become the norm, that in these types of storms, and they're severe, they come one after another. Everybody's talking about the winter, but those who remember just last year and the year before, the microbursts that happened during these severe thunderstorms during the summer can do a lot of damage too, not just the nor'easters. So it's a constant change of the weather and the climate change in not just the Northeast, but everywhere. If anybody's paying attention and they look at the weather in the Midwest and towards California, there's major storms brewing right now. They're talking tornadoes, blizzards, all kinds of stuff. So if you follow weather patterns, and I'm not a person who just follows weather patterns, but it's severe everywhere. It's changing. It's been changing for years, and people have to start recognizing it. So we want to take the approach that we want to come up with something that the BPU can put their teeth into, with the governor and the state legislators, with the power companies, with the municipalities, on how we start dealing with trees that are not public. How do we approach in a positive way and make the public want to be part of the solution of keeping our power grid up and running? Because a lot of the trees that also come down in the private sector are dead and hollow trees. The tree trimming, they have X amount of feet for where their wires are. I'm not saying that should be expanded, but I'm just saying that the tree trimming is something that we need to make sure JCP&L continues to do, because that will be helpful. But what do you, and I think Thad, the mayor from Chatham, Bruce, had said that we love trees too. I formed the Shade Tree Commission just to deal with trees. Right here is someone who helped form that Shade Tree Commission. So we all love trees, but we all have to start looking at how we're going to focus with your help and the state and the power companies on how we can be better prepared. I mean, we were as fully prepared after Irene, Sandy, and all the stuff that we dealt with. We lost a substation under Irene, right, John? Was it Irene? Can't remember, there's so many storms. We lost a substation. That's all your power. Our whole downtown was down for weeks. Unprecedented, usually doesn't happen, but it happened. And Sandy did what Sandy did, and these nor'easters did what they did. But we've learned from it. So we're very proactive in preparing the public for these storms, but we also need to come up with a solution on how we deal with the public and private. So I think there has to be some communication with you guys, the state, and the utility companies on how we talk to the public, on how we don't want to invade their privacy, the privacy of the public, and we all love trees. But I think people are at the point where you know, you can't be out of power for 7 days. And it's not so much being out of the power, it's the ability for people to get in and out of their homes. That was one of the biggest complaints that we got, was the inability for people to get their car out, go to a hotel, or even exit their home. People were in their homes for 5 days because there were wires across the street. Unbeknownst to us, JCP&L from out of state came in to do what they did, but we weren't there to follow up that the line was dead. Our fire department would have moved it. So I don't know if it's JCP&L working with our OEM team in each town to designate someone that has the training that can go and identify if the wire is dead, then we can move the wire, just to get the roads cleared. I mean, other than that, I don't know what you can say about these storms that happen all the time. I'm not here promoting JCP&L, but they were clearly responsive to every call that we made. And Rob's in the back, Rob Walton, believe me, there was 20 times a day I was on the phone with them. My OEM coordinator was on the phone with JCP&L every day. So they were responsive as far as communication, and we eventually got everybody restored.